Aloha mai kākou. Good evening, everybody. And thanks, Michael, for inviting me to this makahiki mua, this first inaugural year of Honolulu Tech Week. As you mentioned, I'm from Helumoa, from our Hawaiian Center. So offering a olia chant that connects these two places. Helumoa known for something different than Kaka'ako. Kaka'ako known as this real place of salt making, if you will. So famous for salt making, and you might hear that moniker throughout some of the names that you find throughout Kaka'ako. This oli also has a little bit of an audience participation part. It includes a clapping sequence. If you are the type that are rhythmically challenged, I invite you to clap like this. Likewise, if you have imbibed and are feeling really good, I also invite you to clap like this. And it's not really an applause, so it's not meant to be loud, but it is meant to be both a visual and a kinesthetic way for us to connect our minds and our bodies as we open up this really wonderful week of exciting information that will be shared and relationships that will be built. And from all the things that are done this week, something greater and something bigger will come next year when all of you folks reconvene for the second one. So I'm gonna ask all of us to kukako iluna, let's please stand. We just wanna place our feet sort of shoulder width, and we're standing firmly, connecting us to this aina, to kaka'ako, to Hawaii, wherever you may have come from, kama'aina or malihini, we are now connecting to this ili'aina here, really into our purpose for this week. And so we're setting intentions, and we're opening up our minds and our bodies for experiences, and really even the thought of leaving here with something valuable to take home to our loved ones and to our individual networks when we go back. So the clapping sequence is simple. It repeats. It's just a single beat, followed by a triplet. 1, 2, 3. So you can join me. It goes 1, 1. Don't speed up now, because then it makes it harder for me to do the chant. Yeah, 1. There are 5 verses, so we keep clapping until you see me put my hands up. Tuka mai kala I ka vena o ke ao, I ke ao kupuna, mala mala ma. O kalamaku ke ali I pauahi, puahi I poia kalani meha meha. He mea nui ke aloha I nā kini puale I mamo Hawaii. Vai ka leo konoa ka ho'okipa I ke kipa ana I kaka'ako nei. A ma'ane I mau ke aloha ko I a ko e nona pua lava ku'ulei. E o na kini puole mamo Hawaii, and with that again, I invite you to this wonderful place called Kaka'ako. And even though I am not the convener and host for this wonderful week, I do invite you to Honolulu Tech Week, and invite you now to turn to the people around you and greet them in aloha.
Alrighty, mahalo Monte. So we have a couple of things on the agenda, and my goal is to talk as little as possible tonight. We have some very, very important guests that are coming up. And to kick off the opening ceremony, I want to start just by thanking everyone, and then we're gonna do the intro here in a second. If you guys just lower the volume a little bit, please. This took, if you guys could lower in the back just a tad bit, Mala. This took a tremendous amount of effort from across so many people in the community, so many backers, so many, from sponsors to partners to people like Alika, standing up, hey, I want to do something early on, to community partners like ThriveHI, to frankly my parents putting up with all the normal stuff and even more trouble that I probably gave them just being stressed out from doing this, right? And I just do a quick run through of the sponsors in a second, but before I do that, I think, I was raised both by my parents and also just spending so much time with 9/0 growing up and these other just icons of, you always think, right, and have so much respect and reverence for the people that made what you're doing and where you're at possible. And there are two people that I want to call it in the room. They're the two people that, funny enough, like to be in the camera the least, are the most selfless people in this entire room, probably the most selfless people that I've ever met, and do so much for the community. Without them, we wouldn't have me or Rick here. Without them, we wouldn't have all of this. So, Nam, Mita, I'm gonna embarrass you guys a little bit. You're gonna get some lays. And again, they don't like being in front of the camera, but I just wanna call you up and say thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Back when, we were just talking about this being a concept, for those, that have built startups or technology companies and so forth, the best type of angel investor is one who's just like, I'm behind you, right? And they help, where can I help, what can I do? And Nam just looked at me and said, oh, you need to use this. Done, blocked off for the week. Without that, none of this else would have happened. I can work my tail off, we can all pitch in, but so thank you for that. I'll never forget that. Now, I have to thank some of the other sponsors involved really quick, and I would say that everyone that we bring in is completely mission aligned behind what we're trying to do here. Who knows the mission of what we're trying to do here? Raise your hand if you know it. You think you can repeat it. Guaranteed, Zach. So let's just start with what, and I'm going to try to move through this quickly, Maris, so thank you while I explain things. So Honolulu Tech Week is a week of events hosted by the leading people, companies, and organizations in and connected to our Hawaii tech community, whether it be startup founders or UHOIC, whether it be investors from Silicon Valley that are coming back home, whether it be someone like Kevin Wakai, wherever he is, that was away for 10 years and is now getting plugged back in. The reason why we're doing this is because we want to accelerate the talent, capital, and adoption of technologies here. And I would say that technology, it's so important to remember this as a means to an end, right? For me, it's a little bit, everyone knows the story, like the biblical story, David and Goliath, right? The slingshot, right? That defeated the giant. And I think if we have an honest look, right, we aren't beating anyone in demographics, we don't have the most oil, we don't have this other stuff, but we have a tool in what we're doing, and I think where we can focus our time in building that provides us with leverage, that provides us with the opportunity and path towards prosperity without totally destroying the environment around us. And I think it also, just more important than anything, provides us with the tool for our future generations, which is why we're doing all this to begin with. And there doesn't have to be one versus the other, right? Like I was talking about, Kamakani, I would imagine from, and it's like, it's not that we don't want fish ponds, it's not that we don't want rockets, we want them both, right? And I think for me, just being born and raised here, it's so special because of who established this land as well too, right? The true pioneers. And for me, this was so deep in getting this off the ground is because that's a spirit that I think we need to return to. I think we're in the process of returning to, right? I've seen you put in how many years? Too many. You as well too. I mean, Donovan, right? And now I'm having the pleasure of meeting you. And so we're so grateful to the foundation that was laid. We honor that. And now you have some, hands, helping and behind you, right, as well too. This is, an army of people out here that are dedicated to this same mission, that have the same vision. I say this, we say Hawaii no i Kauai, but like, are we really internalizing that? Because we can be the best. I truly believe that in the world. I'm not saying like the best state, best in the world. But there's only one way that we can get there, and that's, I think, by our innovation, by our culture, by all these things. So I'm gonna end there and begin to just thank our sponsors really quickly, but that's the why, right? And I'm willing to pay any price to any amount of work to have that. I'm just so grateful that there are other people that are as well too, right? Okay, so let's get into the sponsors. Really quickly, so we have HTDC, Hawaii Technology Development Corp. They came in very early on. They're the owner, correct me if I'm using any wrong terminology of this, but the builder and owner and manager of this building in partnership with NAM and the Hub. Sandy, Wayne, all of you, I'm just so grateful to you. There you go, putting up with all my stuff, I'm more entrepreneurial kind, right? So she's like, you gotta file you need the tax compliance. And it's like, you didn't give up hope in me. Still waiting on that check, but no, I'm joking. I'm kidding. And then there's also one company, and they aren't gonna be represented tonight, but to me, this embodies really the quintessential example of a Hawaii startup scaling to the globe, and that's Palbox and Huala Greavy, who's been frankly an idol for me since the first time I met him. There's 3 other people not associated with Palbox that are obviously not in this room as well that have, and that's Donovan, that's Kaipo Cromwell, and oh crap, there's someone, this is really bad, but I'll come back to them, but we have this group, right, that has really laid the path, and I think Palbox is really, Huala lives those values. If you don't know about the Palbox Foundations or the Kahikina Scholarship, how many of you are a Kahikina Scholarship out there? I know a couple. Koa, you're somewhere out there. Okay, go talk with them after. It's really incredible what they're doing. Hub Co-working, AP Hawaii, bringing back all our kamaina, right? That's their focus, is bringing back our top tech talent to Hawaii while making remote jobs more accessible and higher pay for our people. Mahalo, Zach. You've always had my back. I respect you for that. Thank you. And Gigi as well. We know who makes it, we know who's the boss, but you look like the boss. Elemental Accelerator, just phenomenal. I mean, this is an example, globally leading accelerator that everyone knows about, from Houston to really, I mean, everywhere you go. If you're in climate tech, they're the place to be. And then obviously paired with Blue Startups and Chenoa and her partners who have been doing everything, like the work that you guys put in. I see it. We honor it, and we're so blessed that you just came in and were a part of this from day one, right? And your cohort's incredible. They keep getting better. It's amazing. It's a testament to you. Makai Consulting Solutions, Diane, where are you at, Diane? Put your hand up. Thank you. Just doing incredible cybersecurity work, helping turn really one of the stickiest and hairiest areas of any business into a competitive advantage, right? Cyber resilience in a time like now, so critical. Thank you for having my back as well. I appreciate you sticking through this. Obviously, the UHOIC has been instrumental, and there's a bunch of them. Anyone in the UHOIC, I know you have a big group here today. Isar, you're on a panel. You get to raise your hand. So we have an incredible group here that's building really the future of deep tech and commercialization and so much more. The city and county of Honolulu. We have Stellant, where you at, Sam, that you are an incredible digital agency that just has a heart for helping entrepreneurs within the community. Try and move real quick, your head, sorry. Oh, obviously Builders VC, which is the largest VC here, and Johnny, who's an ambassador on this as well, has done so much. Data Touches, Timon, where you're at, thank you. Came in last minute, and we have these entrepreneurs, these kids again, that are hungry to do more. Finally, there's 2 other groups that I want to call out. I think we're through, I pretty much have all these memorized, which is going to be Thrive Hawaii, which does so much. People are like, why don't you do this more often? Thrive does this all the time. So you can do all the hard work, Trung and Sonia. We're so happy to have you as the new executive director, and obviously Richard. And finally, innovate. And so I mentioned earlier Sandy and Wayne, but the HEDC team, I would say, they similar to the mayor and so forth. These people actually have a heart to serve, right? And so we're grateful to them. Now, that was a lot, right? Sorry about that, but it's important to me. It's important that we honor the people that made this all happen. The blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to go from 0 to 1 is incredible in something like this, but we have wind at our backs now. Okay, phenomenal. So, oh yeah, and we are Kapakua as well. Another firm focused on this, a design agency focused as well. They just went up there yesterday. I mean, we had people coming in wanting to be a part of this. So they're a very specific digital agency, and they're actually hosting a happy hour next night right over at House It Brewery. So we're lucky to have them on board also. Now, without further ado, really in addition to Nam and Mira, what really kept us all together was you, sir. You had the vision, you took the bet on us. We're so grateful. We honor that, we're thankful, and we welcome Mayor Rick Blangiardi. Thank you, Rick.
That's great, Michael. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, welcome everybody. It's my honor to welcome you to the kickoff of Tech Week. And for those of you that are from here, I say aloha. And for those of you who are new, I understand some people are visiting. I want to give you a special warm welcome. I'm going to do something tonight that I don't normally do, and that is I have prepared remarks because Mr. Bennett over here wanted to be sure I said certain things. Because he wants to make sure it's recorded. The mayor actually said that. For those of you who know Michael, you know he's such a shy person. But that said, I just want to make a couple of comments off the top, though, because I am inspired. First of all, I get inspired when I get inside of a room and I don't recognize very many people. That's a good thing. I really find that to be exciting. And actually, the spirit of what tonight's all about and what this next week will be is really something very special. So when I was running for office a little bit more than about 4 years ago now, I guess, one of the things that struck me, because I came out of a technology-driven business. I spent 43 years in media, and the last 10 or 12 here in Hawaii, really creating a 21st century multimedia company after the recession of 2008. And the television stations were on their knees, the ownerships and stuff. And we had a chance to, in collaboration with the FCC, merge those entities and really do something for Hawaii she had never seen before. And that was in 2008. This was about a year old. And we were able to jump on that and that trend. And we did it. It was really good. So now, I get up to be at the age of 73. I have this decision, I want to run for mayor. And I've been in a business for a long time that was technology driven. And I can promise you that no time during the campaign, which regrettably was a lot of Zoom calls because it was all during COVID, but nobody ever talked about modernizing the city. It just wasn't a topic. And quite honestly, I wasn't raising that either, because what I was trying to do was make a case that I could become mayor and not be this media executive, how a lot of people position me. So we weren't talking about that, but boom, you get the job, you get in there, and you realize, as we realized when we pulled our computers out of the data center from the 70s and the 80s, and the fact that people were working on DOS still. They were still using pneumatic tubes, but that actually broke, and they didn't know how to fix it, okay? And I'm not saying that to denigrate anybody, but I was struck by the lack of investment in IT, the understanding of where the world was moving. This is just 4 years ago in a post-COVID environment, So we've done everything and anything we can possibly do to move us into what will soon be the 5th year of the 3rd decade of the 21st century, but you don't do that overnight. But the job of being mayor is about problem solving, but in order to understand the problem, to fix a problem, you've got to understand it and develop the right solutions. So we are heavily investing in technology, people, and processes, and it's really helping us move forward. So that said, I see a group like this, and I get very excited, because you are the future, not just because I'm the old guy in the room. You are the future. And anything that the city can do, I have some of my colleagues here tonight will tell you that we want to be facilitators. We don't want to be the regulators that are a barrier to entry. You know, anything that we can possibly do. And I've talked to Michael and Nam and Mita about this. We want to be there. So it's a real privilege for me tonight to come here to present some prepared remarks. But I want to let you know that the spirit of what you are, we feel that too. And so anything and everything that you want to become, if there's some way the city can help with that, you can count on us. And so we'll move forward together into the future. We just got reelected, going to be around for 4 more years. I'm really honored. We won in the primary. Yeah. No, it's good. I haven't said this publicly, but it actually was really a big relief to win in the primary, because I don't know, this idea of having this job that's like 14 hours a day and trying to run a campaign is kind of crazy. So we're out of that. We're here. What I say counts. I have Amy Asselby here, Kim Sparling, with Krishna Jairama as Deputy Managing Director. We have an incredible team of men and women. And the last thing I'll say about that, when we did win on that night, first thing I said out of my mouth was, I ran, we won. So I'm here tonight to represent our team and a collection of really outstanding, talented, committed people. So with that, let me just say, as you all know, we're here tonight to kick off an important week, which is dedicated to technology, innovation, and maybe most importantly, industry growth. On a personal level, I want to start by acknowledging everyone here tonight who's worked to make this vision for Tech Week a reality. I especially want to thank Michael Bennett, Nam Vu, and his very talented and knowledgeable wife, Mita, and all the Tech Week ambassadors and sponsors, as we just heard, for their leadership, their courage, and their determination in bringing a conference of this caliber together to Honolulu. You're all in this room tonight because you know better than most of us that technology has become more than an integral part of our daily lives, transforming how we work, communicate, and interact with each other. You're here tonight because you are committed to using technology to create a better future for people across Hawaii and all over the world, to enhance our quality of life, and to drive economic growth in the industries of the future. You're also here tonight because you are tech forward, a term I really like, in everything that you do. And I am here tonight, really, to learn more about the city and how the city can be tech forward as well. Make no mistake, our workforce is committed to creating impact across our island, to delivering significant improvement to the core services we provide for all of our people, and to supporting businesses and innovation, especially in our technology community and the industries that it impacts. But we at the city must learn from the men and women in this room about how to demonstrate intentionality when it comes to improvement and innovation. I can promise you that statement is very true. Tech is reshaping the global landscape, as well as our city. Hawaii has paved the way in many areas, including innovations to the travel and energy industries, and we are an established hub for high-value engineering. And some of the world's leading companies are making major investments in our ecosystems. Companies built by people in this room are becoming industry leaders in software and AI, helping us create a more resilient economy that can adapt to change and thrive in the face of challenges. But there's still plenty to do. Our long-term goal is to work with those of you in this room, community and industry partners, to further incentivize business growth, especially in the tech sector, and to do whatever is in the city's power to de-risk investment in Hawaii's tech industry. When applied right, tech enables us to connect with global markets. It allows us to position our city as an innovation hub, providing better lives for our residents and helping us find new ways to bring our tech forward kaima'ana. So back to Oahu. Speaking of that, we're hiring. We're hiring across the board, but I have to tell you, we're about to lose a real genius in our information technology director. And I would tell you that I probably shouldn't say this, you wouldn't think much of me, but I'm more concerned about who we hire for that position than I am who gets elected president of the United States. And I'm telling you that because so much of our future, what we want to do, and over the next 4.5 years, but even beyond that, because I think those of us today working together as this team really think about changing the trajectory of the city. And you're definitely players in that regard as well. So who we put in that position, given the history of things, is really important for us. And we're working with a lot of resources, but, should anybody out there be thinking, boy, I'd like to work with that guy and all those smart people, or you might know somebody who would love to talk to you. It's a really big hire for us. And the guy we had in there was really brilliant, and I'm not here to denigrate anybody before me. The city just lacked investing in it. So we are prepared to invest in it, we're prepared to hire in it, and we're prepared to create a great future going forward. So I just want you to know that.
Mayor,
Yeah.
can you say the title specifically that you're having?
The Director of Information Technology. I'll tell you what, if you're the right person, I'll call you anything you want. I'm not shy on that at all. I mean, whatever you want to be co-mayor, it's okay with me. All right, it's that important, I'm not kidding. All right, so this seems like this is the right group to mention it, so I thought I would take advantage. Michael, you probably never asked me to speak again. And Christian Jaron's in the room right here. If anybody's here, you want to talk to him, he's our Deputy Managing Director. He'll take down your name and phone number, and we will call you. The truth is, this is an extremely important role for all of us. I joked not long ago that I just said that about the president. I just ad-lib. So I normally don't do this, but I'm doing it, Michael. I'm doing it to make sure I say, the mayor says what you, and Nam? Okay. All right. These are really, really good guys. Okay. So modernizing the city's tech infrastructure has been a major priority for us. I promise you that. We're using AI to streamline our Department of Planning and Permitting. We've come a long way. Just let me give you a quick example. When we came in, there was a backlog just in the pre-screen. Just the pre-screen, when the time you filed a permit, we had 3,600 applications. It took 6 months to get through that. Just through the use of AI, no backlog, 2 days. Just that. And we're doing a lot of that, and we've worked with the unions. The unions have been really collaborative with us. They understand the moment in time we're in a personnel standpoint. We're not doing it to displace people at all. We're looking to be able to help them do their work. And it's really taking hold now. So we're starting to do more and more of that, and we'll continue to do that. So in order for our city government to become more tech forward in our operations, we need to do more to help develop a thriving technology ecosystem, that be you. One that supports innovation, provides resources for startups, and helps businesses flourish. We could not be more excited to kick off that effort here in Honolulu Tech this week. This event has brought together innovators and industry leaders to connect, educate, and no doubt, inspire. And the workshops you participate in this week will help showcase the incredible talent, companies, and maybe even more importantly, creativity that exists right here in Hawaii. It is more than just a series of events. It is a catalyst for future growth. So as we embark on this exciting week, please keep in mind that technology is about building a better future for all of us. Together we can create a Honolulu that is more connected, more sustainable, and more prosperous. So I look forward to watching this inaugural week get off to a great start. I will tell you, we don't know each other, a lot of us. You have my respect and admiration if you're in this room, and we look forward to building a great future together. Thank you. God bless.
So you're telling me we have a mayor that just made us all crack up, publicly announce a job role for a head of IT, and tell us that the city is modernizing and making our lives easier, not harder, with AI. Gotta be a first, right? Gotta be a first. Thank you. It was so important for us to have you here. Now, onto the program itself. We're gonna have a couple of our city and state's leaders come up and say a couple minutes of words for everyone. Just kind of State of the Union and share what's going on from the various perspectives that we have. And I feel so lucky that we have these people that each represent just a really, really, really incredible area, whether it be investment, whether it be commercialization, whether it be community organizations. And to get this kicked off, I would like to start by introducing Sonia Romero, Executive Director of ThriveHI. Come on, Sonia. Unless I didn't miss anything in the order, right? No.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Oh, sorry. Can we do one slide back? Perfect. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Sonia. Thanks so much for coming here today. I'm thinking before I get started, really quickly, we should take a minute to celebrate Michael, who's been spending the past 6 months slaving away for this event. Heck yeah. But yeah, my name's Sonia. I'm the Executive Director of ThriveHI, and we're a nonprofit focused on building Hawaii's startup and tech economy. 2 years ago, when we originally started ThriveHI, we were basically just a group of 4 volunteers united behind this vision of bringing higher paying jobs to Hawaii and bringing Kama'aina home. I was personally drawn to that mission because I was tired of seeing most of my friends have to leave Hawaii for lack of job opportunities, and for the ones that stayed, having to sacrifice a lot just to be here. And on top of all of that, I think the thing I was most frustrated about is every time I would bring this up, people would tell me, well, that's just how Hawaii is, as if Hawaii isn't a place where technology and innovation can thrive, and Hawaii isn't a place that can change. But I think if I've learned anything over the past 2 years of doing this work, is that that statement is fundamentally incorrect. ThriveHI has worked with dozens of organizations who have been doing incredible work over the past 2 decades and have succeeded in making change and growing Hawaii's startup and tech economy, as evidenced by this week. Some of those organizations you'll see up here today giving speeches, and others you'll see throughout the week hosting amazing events. Beyond that, our organization has been reached out to by hundreds of individuals, not just across Hawaii, but across the US, former Kama'aina, who are excited about the mission, who are excited about the work that we do, and most importantly, who believe in Hawaii's potential to succeed. So last fall, ThriveHI won our first federal grant from the US Economic Development Association to sort of take this next step in building out Hawaii's strategy to grow a startup and tech ecosystem. We were tasked with the challenge of figuring out within this super broad definition of technology, what are some specific subsectors that we could focus on aggressively pursuing in the short term. So for the past 6 months, we've been digging into the data. We looked into 16 or 17 different industries. We interviewed dozens of people across the state, and we've narrowed it down to 4 really impactful, really exciting opportunities for Hawaii to aggressively pursue in the next 3 to 5 years. I really think Hawaii is at a turning point when it comes to our startup and tech development, and our team believes that this report is a key initial milestone on this long journey. Ultimately, if we as a state can really rally together behind one unified vision for change in Hawaii, then I truly believe that we can become a nationally recognized innovation hub. I truly believe that we can be a model for economic diversification. And most importantly, I believe that we can be a place where Kama'aina are not only excited, but proud to come home to develop their careers, and to solve some of the world's most pressing problems through technology and innovation. Because that's just how Hawaii is. So if you're going to take anything away from my speech tonight, I ask that you folks please go to www.thrivehi.org, read our Tech Niche report, and please reach out to our team if you're excited about partnering on programs that will truly change the future of Hawaii. And outside of that, reach out to the other organizations putting on amazing events throughout the week and figure out ways to partner with them as well. Growing Hawaii's startup and tech economy is an incredibly challenging but incredibly important problem, and we need all hands working on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Richard. Obviously, thank you, Trung. You folks do so much. I think it's literally every week, every month, I feel, and that is incredible. So we're very grateful for that, and excited for the future alongside you folks. Now we're gonna go into our next speaker. I think for me, it's, okay, perfect. I was like, well, what's the screen? for me, it's so important because both, technical genius, inventor, all of the time, words, co-founder that we think of, but also deeply rooted, right, in the community, in the mission, and so forth. How many of you guys know Olin? Show of hands. So I'm going to introduce Olin up next. For those of you who don't know Olin, he is the co-founder and CTO of Shifted Energy, Elemental, right, portfolio. We're all kind of connected here. He's also the co-founder of Purple Maya, which is an incredibly important organization within our community. If you haven't heard of them, I already got yelled at for talking too long, so I'll just keep it there, but please go look them up. And Olin, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. You're, I think, an inspiration to so many of us, so mahalo. And I'll trade you out that bread necklace for, for real. You can have both. You can have both. Thank you.
Aloha mai kako. If you guys are wondering, this is Trung's invention. So he has this bread lay. So he said it's edible, it's fresh today, and sourdough tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm like ono for peanut butter and jelly right now. So yeah, gosh, it's been 30 years since I've been starting companies here, and thinking back, like I think I'm ready for AARP already. And so yeah, I went to Foodland the other day and I got carded. I was buying liquor, and I thought it was the guy thought I was young. He was checking because it was Kupuna Thursday. Yeah. So anyway, I think I'm just here to tell you guys, like, this is the greatest place on earth to start companies. It may not be the best place to grow something and scale something, but without question, this place is absolutely incredible. And my favorite reason for that is we have the highest concentration of PhDs. Now, before you guys go fact check me, it's my own definition of PhDs. Part Hawaiian dudes and part Hawaiian dames. Yeah, but seriously, this place is special in the sense that this is like so many different cultures that have just smashed it. There's no majority. And for over 100 years, coming up on 200 years, we've had to learn to be together. Our face would cringe when our friends walk into our house with muddy shoes and don't take it off, and like everything in between. Those things are really just right for innovation success. And so my companies in the past have created industries. I think we're up to several, maybe 20 million users across all the platforms that we've created, a couple of exits. My current company is an energy company, and one where we believe that we needed to engage underserved communities. So I think Hawaii really is a place of compassion and equity. And so I'm really proud to say that we're starting to grow. So we're now in 3 countries and 9 states. And I was supposed to give an update, so thanks, Chenoa. So the update is we're now, last week we were in 8 states. So I'm asking you guys to do some math in your head. Yeah, so that's all I was going to say, but I do want to encourage you, I have one call to action. And so no matter where you guys start a company, whether it's here or in the Bay Area, or wherever it is, I really encourage you guys to find the indigenous folks that are from that community, engage with them, talk to them, find ways to work with them. It will absolutely transform your business, yourself. One quick story is that working in the Native Hawaiian community, I've been involved for 30 years in volunteering Native Hawaiian communities, and I had this insight working with Native Hawaiian communities 25 years ago, and then I went out and wrote a patent about that, and I called the patent social commerce. And so that industry is now called crowdfunding. And so that's an example, like you can really find these great things. So that company was started here, was the first of its kind, grew it to about $100 million in transactions to fund all kinds of projects worldwide, and then sold the company. And so in closing, I was thinking like some kind of emotional call to action beyond that. I had some funny jokes I wanted to share, but Guy Kawasaki is speaking here today. How's it, Guy? And so I wanted to make a connection with you. So all of my companies are based on serving the community. So I create what I call social ventures. So my current energy company that is now in a few countries and 9 states was actually launched out of a nonprofit that I had started, a tiny nonprofit. It was an innovation nonprofit. How do you get tens of thousands of people to take action? And so that nonprofit you featured in your book, Enchantment. Chihu! Yeah. So Kana Hawaii. So we took that same concepts of enchanting, and we now do it on the for-profit side. And so that's my connection to my closing. So mahalo, Guy. I appreciate you. Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Such an inspiration. Next up, Dane K. Wicker, Deputy I'm never gonna stop laughing at this thing. It's incredible, Trung. Great. I want halvesies on the patent or whatever you have. Dane K. Wicker, Deputy Director of DBED in the state of Hawaii. Thank you for being with us tonight. And let me get you a lei as well. Everyone gets leis tonight. There you go. Hey, thank you for coming. Thank you.
Mahalo and good evening. This is two challenges. One, the bread lay. Two, shifting from a panel discussion to remarks. Usually with a panel, you can analyze questions, give feedback, really think through it. So this is going to be a unique opportunity to hit some points here. But first, I want to thank Thrive Hawaii for coordinating what will be an amazing week. I think about 1,000 attendees from what I heard throughout the week in this inaugural event. So thank you and mahalo for pulling us together. So with DBED, we have Hawaii Technology Development Corporation attached to us. And going back, 1983, they were established as the High Technology Development Corp. And so over those 40 years, the definition of tech, what we think technology is, has shifted. In my dabbing with technology, on the side, I have a farm business. It's actually a hobby. It costs me money. At some point, it'll start to make money. But technology has shifted the way we do operations. As we moved economically through the challenges of processing, packaging, we had to look at technology to make our processes more efficient as well as save time. But there's a cost to that. There's a capital cost. And through Hawaii for diversification, it's going to be a lot of small to medium businesses that help us go through pandemics, natural disasters, where we can rely on the small businesses to carry us through. So Hawaii has long envisioned creating a vibrant tech startup ecosystem for decades. We are in a moment where technology is evolving rapidly, and global trends are moving in directions that highlight Hawaii's unique strengths. We set sustainability goals, we set food security and resiliency goals. So for example, with our strategic location as a gateway between the US and Asia, this offers a significant advantage to industries such as aerospace, telehealth, manufacturing, which includes advanced manufacturing, food and product manufacturing, and if we combine that with our deep commitment to sustainability, Hawaii will become a hub for climate and renewable energy innovation, providing us a chance to lead in sectors where the world is paying close attention. For DBED, we had to establish a cradle-to-grave framework. So for government, how can we help identify the cliffs and take those startups to the next level? So for our cradle-to-grave framework, 4 pillars: policy, the workforce development, infrastructure and facilities, which is critical, and then the layering of incentives. And I want to walk through this briefly. So for policy, we have a lot of policies in place, but does it align with today's time and space? Or are we operating on our grandfather's policies? Do we have to repeal or revise? For the workforce development, it's chicken and egg. We have a DOE system and a college system that's preparing the workforce for tomorrow, but do we have those opportunities to plug and play here? Almost 50% of our high school students don't go on to college. So how do we stand in front of that high school student and tell them, your skill set today, your certificates, your curriculum that you got, here's the opportunities for you. We have to make sure there's that alignment. The infrastructure and facilities. This is key. Equipment, facilities. The government can provide those one-time costs. So as we identify the cliffs, such as a space like the sandbox, when we take in companies, what is that incubation process? How do we take you from incubation to maturity? And that's where government can play a role. We can shift those incentives to lower the risk, to reduce the risk by providing those spaces, those facilities, and critical equipment to help you succeed. One of our greatest strengths is the push to be resilient and sustainable. Hawaii's diverse climate enables us to serve as a testbed for climate innovation. Thank you. Clean energy and agriculture technology. In solving these problems to sustain our current industries and help them scale up, you will see DBED and the state moving towards resiliency and sustainability with our partners at the county level too. We have a great team with Mayor Rick Blangiardi and his team. Amy, Kim, thank you so much for your participation in discussions we have. So despite the challenges, we've made incredible progress. And events like Honolulu Tech Week, which will bring over the attendees throughout the week, this highlights how Hawaii's tech community is growing. So from creative industries like film, media, to advanced manufacturing and renewable energy, we are making strides in those sectors. Conversations, for example, are with Purple Maya. We engage with their small businesses and we ask them, what are the cliffs and the drop-off points? And they'll tell us, I need access to equipment, I need access to facilities, help us with our labor challenges. The government as a whole can help that if we focus and we listen. So our efforts to support ideas like the Food and Product Innovation System, they're just one example of what happens when we embrace innovation. And this is a collaboration with our attached agencies such as Agribusiness Development Corporation and the Hawaii Technology Development Corporation. So in closing, I just want to say, okay, what are the next steps? We want to leave this week definitely motivated, but what is that call to action? And I ask for you folks, you are the experts in the room. We have the Hawaii Technology Development Corporation that meets with the board of directors. Get involved, attend a meeting, send in your ideas. We look to you for the ideas and how we can implement. Talk to your legislators, talk to us. Our doors are open and we can learn from you and how we can take Hawaii's economy to the next level. Mahalo and good evening.
Awesome, and so I think without further ado, Jim Deane, please come up. The director of the innovation, sorry, I forgot to do the title, my bad. The director of the Innovation and Office of Innovation and Commercialization for the University of Hawaii. And not only is he doing that, but guess how badass he is? He's an astrophysicist by background. I mean, come on, business, physicist, awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Aloha nui loa, everyone. I am Jim Deane, the Director of the Office of Innovation and Commercialization at the University of Hawaii System. So I have had the privilege of serving in this role for the last 6 months, which brought me back to the islands after a number of years in the mainland. But I served here years ago in graduate school coming out of the Institute for Astronomy. So as a UH alum, it is a great pleasure to return to the institution and to contribute to the university and the state in a very different role. And not to roast the man, but my connection with Guy, after being trained as an astrophysicist, if you figure out that probably the tenure track is just not going to be where you want to go, there's a real question as to how the hell do you contribute to society? So I ran back to graduate school and got my MBA at Cornell. And about 23 years ago, I came from Ithaca out to Silicon Valley as a part of a group of students who were interested in getting into the tech industry. And I met with Guy, and somewhere I got a copy of the book. And so it's really a couple of different ways of coming full circle back to the university and to the state. So the reason that I'm here, the reason that the university is a sponsor of Tech Week and so motivated and interested in working with you folks is that the University of Hawaii is a major, it is the tip of the funnel for innovation here in the state. Every year, the University of Hawaii system spends $400 million on academic research. And this is research in areas across the board. We have engineering, medicine, space science, oceanography, agriculture, just about anything that you can investigate. We have people here doing it at one of the 10 campuses in the system. A lot of the research is focused at the UH Manoa, but also in the other campuses. And so my office's role is to work with the faculty as they're going after making discoveries of how the universe works. If they take that discovery, which is an understanding of the science of what's going on, and apply that discovery to a problem that exists out there in the world, that goes from a discovery to an invention or an innovation. And that begins a conversation with my office as we work with the investigators who are tenured professors, graduate students, postdocs, sometimes undergraduate students. And they disclose that innovation to us. We work with them to identify what have you done, what could it be off campus in the form of a solution to a problem, a product or service. What is the roadmap to getting there? How do you get from here to there? And it's a very long road and has lots of steps with a lot of analysis, a lot of review, a lot of bringing in outside opinions from experts in the community. And of all of the innovations that we get, Some of them have a life off campus. Some of those can be turned into a product or service. Some of those might be of interest to an industry partner to license that technology and offer those products and services. And an even smaller fraction might be an innovation that a product or service that can support a brand new business. It is a deep funnel, and so out of many, few are chosen, but we are trying to open that funnel because last year, the University of Hawaii, so there's expenditures and then there's awards. Awards are getting the new award that sometimes lasts over many years. The bottom line is, if you look at the, excuse me, if you look at how we measure the amount of research that's going to be done in the short future, that's looking at the awards to the university. Under my boss, the Vasilis Sirmos at the Office of the Vice President of Research and Innovation, the University of Hawaii system destroyed the previous record that it had set just the previous year. We got $615 million in awards. That is a 20% increase year on year. I take no credit. It is all the work of other people. We're standing on the shoulders of giants, but that means that our pipeline is all the fatter at the beginning. And now my job is to, with an excellent team that we have over in Sinclair, on campus, is to figure out which of those discoveries that are going to soon be made can be turned into innovations and products and services and businesses. It's a long journey. We look forward to taking that journey along with many of you, getting your support for understanding what the innovation is and should be, for finding the talent to apply to these problems and to creating new businesses. So the call to action is, please join us at Komamai. Thank you all.
And there's one more call to action there. University of Hawaii is hosting, the OIC is hosting an incredible panel Wednesday at 4 p.m. It's called Hawaii's Deep Tech Future, Chips, Energy, and Beyond. And so if you're gonna be around here, it will actually be held here. And right in between that is a gentleman that I know that's waiting to get up on the stage. Guy, only one more person in front, and it's Chenoa, right? So just Chenoa, and then you're up. 2 more minutes, I promise. Sorry. I know you can if you want. Chung, did you bring any, like dipping sauce to go with the bread? No, I think final person we wanted to talk before a guy comes up and says closing remarks is Chenoa. Listen, you know how much I love you. You know how grateful I think we all are to you. And so thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for, again, taking a bet on this, and thank you for laying the foundation that you did. You already know who you are. I don't even need to introduce you anymore. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chung, I ate mine already. So I'm just going to use this flower one for now. All right, aloha, everyone. So believe it or not, I've been in venture capital in Hawaii for over 20 years. I know there are many of you in the room that go, that's impossible, it can't be true. Yeah, it's true. Building startups in Hawaii is not easy. I'm here to tell you that also, but it is necessary, right? As Michael already alluded to, it is essentially, as I see it, and many of us in this room will agree, the only way out of the conundrum that we're in as a state. We have a high cost of living here. The only thing that we can address is on the other side of that equation, bringing higher paying jobs here, right? It's not gonna get cheaper to live here. We just have to face that fact. But the technology industry, high economic impact, low environmental impact, is our way forward. It's, in fact, I believe, our only way forward. This is the mission upon which we built Blue Startups. Blue Startups, for those of you who aren't familiar with us, we're a venture accelerator. We're located right here. We actually operate out of the sandbox when we're running cohort. And we've been running programs for 11 years in Hawaii. We are mission driven. We are trying to create better paying jobs, more economic opportunity for our keiki, for our residents. That is our job. We're making progress. It is slow, but bear with us. It is being made nonetheless. So over the last 11 years, I can tell you that Blue Startups has invested in over 130 startups. Yes, and many of them have gone on to be very successful enough that I'm still standing here and still running this program. So that says something. That collectively raised over $1 billion, including one unicorn that went IPO. We're very, very proud they started right here in Honolulu. So we have that to be proud of, all of us collectively. We at Blue Startups are building networks and bridges. That is our job. We have founders, investors, mentors. We have over a couple thousand people now involved in Blue Startups as our network, and that is building the bridge between us and the global economy, between us and Silicon Valley, between us and Asia. This is really important for Hawaii. We have to build these bridges, right? We're on an island in the middle of the Pacific. Literally, we have to build bridges, right, to get into this global economy and get into, frankly, the money that will bring for us and our keiki. So I also wanted to talk about what we see for the future. And I think we are at this inflection point, right? This is such an exciting week for me because I didn't do the work to make this happen. Yay! Which I think is the first time in feels like a couple decades where somebody else took the reins and is moving our tech industry forward. So again, another big round of applause for Michael Bennett. And everyone in the room that made this happen and is going to continue to make this happen, hopefully for years to come. It is really exciting for me to see this level of activity and action and just happening in Hawaii. Since the pandemic, frankly, we've had a big influx of talent. And for me, it's very exciting. I know it's a mixed bag for some people, rising prices, housing, I get it. That's true, all true, it's complicated. But I think if we can see this as an opportunity and seize it, right, what we need in Hawaii is more talent, and this is bringing more talent to our state. Now our job is to retain it, to grow it from our kama'aina who are already here, and to attract kama'aina back here, right? That is, I think, a real key for us. Those who want to start companies, come home, start them here, get into the tech industry here. Michael's a perfect example of a kama'aina kid who came home to do this work. I'm another one, believe it or not, from 30 years ago. Anyway, I came home to get involved again in Hawaii. So that is, I think, our future. We really need to focus on the talent attraction. Capital will flow where talent is. We don't need to worry about that. If we're building startups that are globally competitive, the capital will come here too. So we need to focus on building that talent and bringing it home right here. So that's what I want us all to be thinking about going forward. Remember that Hawaii is small, but we're mighty. We punch above our weight already in this industry, so we can continue to do that. And it also doesn't take a whole lot for us to move the needle. This is what I like to remind people all the time. We don't need 100 wins, we need 10 wins, and we will be way ahead of the game here, employing local people in high-paying jobs. So let's focus on our prize. It's right in front of us. All right, my call to action, if you want to be more involved, please get in touch with us. And next week is Blue Startups Demo Day, Cohort 16. Cohort 16 is in the house. Let's go. So next week, Thursday, we'll be showing off our amazing founders and what they're building, a lot of them right here in Hawaii. One more thing I'd say about that is that these founders are amazing. Many of them are second-time, third-time, four-time founders. That's new for us. We used to always have first-time founders. But that's, the talent pool, again, is changing here. So that's really going to be a game changer for us going forward. I think, am I introducing Guy or you're introducing Guy? I don't know. But Guy is awesome, as you know. He's the kama'aina boy. I don't know, how many of you know that? Kalihi, Yeah, Kalihi to Silicon Valley. That is Guy Kawasaki's story. I will say, my connection with Guy, every time I put the call out to Guy, hey, can you come to Hawaii for this event? Hey, can you come to... He answers right away and he's on the plane. So I so appreciate that about Guy. He has showed up time and time again for us, for this sector. I think this is the 4th or 5th time that I've asked him to come out. So thank you for coming again. Yeah, without further ado, Guy Kawasaki.
We got you one, man. I was gonna say, after all that, I didn't even get the bread. My God. So, listen, it's really a privilege to talk to you. I live in California now, and I just want to tell you a little bit of my story. And the reason why I want to tell you my story is because I think it proves that, anything is possible. And, any of you could be the next Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or, God help you, Elon Musk. And I want to tell you about my story so that you understand that so much of it is about luck and grit and growth. Because that is the key to my story. Now, before I begin my story, I want to make something perfectly clear, because this happens to me all the time, particularly in Hawaii. So people come up to me and they say, I was lost. I didn't know what to do with my career. I had no direction in my life. And I read your book and it changed my life. I got purpose, I got direction. You changed my life. And when this happens, I say to these people, well, which of my 16 books changed your life? And I'm telling you, almost every time they say, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I want you to know I'm Kawasaki, not Kiyosaki. We not only look alike, we sound alike. So, in a sense, my story is Kalihi Valley to Silicon Valley. I grew up in Kalihi Valley. My house was right off Lickilicky Freeway, and I went to Kalihi Elementary School. So, listen, we weren't even allowed to go into Wailikahala back then, okay, just so you understand. And I'm going to mention a name that you probably will never hear of. Her name is Trudy Akau. Trudy Akau was a teacher at Kalihi Elementary. And she pulled my parents aside once and she told them, your son has a lot of potential. You should take him and put a lot of academic pressure on him and force him to go to college. And my parents listened to her, and they put me in a different educational track. And I think without Trudy Akau, my life would be completely different. And so I think that was a turning point in my life. So if any of you are teachers or no teachers, you should understand that this kind of conversation you can have with kids and parents, telling them to aspire to higher goals, to bigger things. It is literally life-changing. I owe my success to Trudy Akau, which is a teacher you probably never heard of and never will hear of. It's all about Trudy Akau. Now, I've met a lot of people, and a lot of them, quite frankly, are full of shit. I come from Silicon Valley, and we're a full of shit place. So, and I'll tell you something, that a lot of people, when they talk about, what drove them to their great goals, what drove them to aspire to higher things, to change the world, to dent the universe, to use every metaphor that Steve Jobs ever used. They talk about changing the world and world peace and, climate change and all these great things and fresh water for everybody, reducing crime, economic opportunity. And God bless you if you're motivated by that. But I just want to give you a little window into my soul so you understand. The lesson is that it's not what motivates you that it's important. The most important thing is that you are motivated. So let me tell you a story. I lived in Kalihi Valley, but I went to school on the other side of town. And so this involved catching a bus. I had to catch the bus from Kalihi Valley down to King Street to Komoku Street, all right? So 2 transfers. And twice in my high school career, I was hijacked on the bus. Once at Kaimuki High School and once at Farrington High School. And I tell you something, believe it or not, those were 2 of the most formative experiences in my life. Now, I'm not recommending that all of you get hijacked in order to provide motivation. But when that happened to me, I said, Guy, you have got to study and you have got to work hard so that you can live in a place where you're not hijacked on the bus. And then the third story I want to tell you is my parents had some friends who lived in Manoa Valley. And once we visited their house, and my father's friend took me for a ride in his Porsche 911. And I had a ride in that 911, and I got out of that car, and I said to myself, Guy, this is why you need to study, and this is why you need to work hard. So when you hear people saying, I want to end poverty, I want to end crime, I want to end climate change, I want to change the world. Guy Kawasaki, all I wanted to do was change the car. And that seriously is what motivated me. And I think there's a lesson there that it really does not matter what motivated you as long as you are motivated. Now, I'm going to give 2 speeches more at this conference. I don't know how the hell I got talked into giving 3 speeches. I mean, that's like 2 more than I ever give at a conference. But, well, I have a son who just entered the University of Hawaii. Yeah. Maybe you could fix Wi-Fi in his dorm. You know those round things, I'm telling you that he's telling me, oh, Dad, the Wi-Fi is so lousy. I am tethering off my Verizon phone, so I'm going to have this $500 Verizon bill unless you fix those dorms, okay? So I'm going to have 2 more talks, okay? So one is how to be a remarkable entrepreneur, and the other is how to make a remarkable pitch. That's going to be Tuesday and Wednesday. And I just want to give you a glimpse about being a remarkable entrepreneur, because some of you may not make that speech, and that's frankly the speech that I most want to communicate to you is how to be a remarkable entrepreneur. And the central question of entrepreneurship is, how do I decide on what kind of product or service to create? What's my angle? What am I trying to do? And I'll give you 3 tests for this. So there are 3, I think, fundamental ways you develop a product or a service. The first way is you alleviate pain. Pain is a great opportunity. When you see pain, the flip side of pain is money. People want to pay to get out of pain. Apple removed the pain of having to have a mainframe computer. Canva, I'm chief evangelist of Canva right now. Canva has removed the pain of creating graphics. It has democratized design. If you look at Mark Benioff, Salesforce.com, he alleviated the pain of upgrading enterprise software, that it no longer took teams to come in and install new software with tapes and DVDs. That's the pain he saw. So path number 1 is look for pain. The second path, I want you to work backwards from what people want. Work backwards from their pain. Many companies, they work forward. This is what we've always done. This is what we're very good at. This is what we're making a lot of money doing. So we need to find people who want to buy what we want to make. And that is not a good path to entrepreneurship. I'll give you a very negative example. Kodak. So believe it or not, Kodak in 1975 invented digital photography. Kodak made the first digital camera. Wrap your mind around, how many of you use a Kodak camera today, right? So what happened was this engineer at Kodak invented the digital camera. Now, can you imagine that engineer went to his boss and said, I figured out a way, nobody has to buy film anymore. That's what you call a CLM, a career limiting move. So what happened with Kodak is I think Kodak was always trying to work forward. We are a chemical company. We put chemicals on film. We put chemicals on paper. So we need to find people who want to buy chemicals on paper and chemicals on film. But if Kodak were smart, they would work backwards from the customer. And working backwards from the customer, why were people buying these chemicals on film and chemicals on paper? It's because they wanted to preserve memories. People didn't wake up in the morning saying, oh, I wish I could buy some chemicals on paper. I wish I could buy some chemicals on film. They woke up saying, I just traveled. I want to preserve my memory. I want to remember that time I went to Disneyland, or I went to Mauna Lani, or I went to Kauai, or whatever, right? When I was in the barrel at Pipeline, I want to remember those moments. And so what Kodak should have done is they figured out that we are in the business of helping people preserve memories. We're not a chemical company. We're a memory preservation company. And if you define yourself as a memory preservation company, then you would have embraced digital photography. Because with digital photography, now you know you captured the memory. It's not coming back from your vacation, taking it to the lab and waiting 2 weeks, and then finding out, oops, I had the lens cap on the lens the whole time. I didn't capture the memory. So that's the second way, working backwards. And the third way, and the Apple way. The Apple way is you build what you want to use. You build for yourself. Steve Wozniak made the Apple I not for some McKinsey consulting study that showed that personal computer was a large and growing market. There was no personal computer market. Steve Wozniak built the Apple I for himself. He wanted a computer that was small and cheap and easy to use. He was building it for himself. Luckily, he was not the only nutcase that wanted such a thing, and the rest is history. And that's why Apple is such a successful company today. So I hope that if you remember nothing else from my presentation tonight, that you remember the 3 paths to great products and services, which is alleviate pain, work backwards from the customer, or build what you want to use. And that's what I've learned in about 40 years of being in Silicon Valley. Now, I'm going to violate all HIPAA regulations. And I'm going to tell you something that I am deaf, believe it or not. I am deaf. I use a cochlear implant. So I'm basically completely deaf in this side, about 80% deaf in this side. And in this kind of surrounding with hard floors and lots of people, what a cochlear implant does is it magnifies all the sound, including every conversation, everything. So my head is just filled with noise. And like all the time, people were referencing me in their speeches. I have no idea what you said. I hope it was positive. I have no idea what you said. So I'm telling you this and violating HIPAA because I want you to know that if you come up to me today or Tuesday or Wednesday and you talk to me and I cannot really respond, it's not because I'm dumb, it's because I'm deaf, okay? And so if you really want to engage me, email. Email is the best way because I can read, I cannot hear. And I'll give you, it's very hard to remember my email address. It's guykawasaki@gmail. And if you cannot remember that email address, you're not going to be a successful entrepreneur anyways. So I don't care. So I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to talk more about how to be a remarkable entrepreneur. And I see you Wednesday and about how to give a remarkable pitch. And I'll tell you something. The reason why I am deaf is because I heard so many shitty pitches in Silicon Valley. I'm telling you. This is an OSHA issue. This is OSHA issue. So that's my story. So Kalihi Valley to Silicon Valley and back. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, I think we've ran long enough. It's time to enjoy the rest of the night. Really quickly as we wrap out, I want to do just one final roll call. So for all the sponsors, please raise your hand. Awesome. Keep the hands up. Keep the hands up. For all the partners, volunteers, or event hosts, please raise your hand. Keep the hands up. Everyone keep the hands up. Awesome. And then finally, for anyone attending an event, put your hand up. Everyone. So you all made this possible. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you so much. We'll see you during the week.